Hi everyone, it's John Rowland here from Coptrz. Now, I just wanted to take a bit of your time just to talk through something that's kind of popped up in the media and a bit of a hot topic at the minute with regards to flight restriction zones. You may have seen that there's an Extinction Rebellion, a subset of their group is wanting to go to Heathrow, the Heathrow pause, and basically fly drones within the flight restriction zone as a contesting the extension of the runways there to 3 runways. So really, I just wanted to obviously not get political about it, but I just wanted to talk about the legality of flight restriction zones, what you can and cannot do, what you have to do if you do want to fly within there. And also just talk about drone detection as a service as well, because obviously the flight restriction zones, they are in essence made up. You can't see them. They're not a physical barrier. And how can drone detection, if you're an asset owner or an airport owner or something along those lines, how can you use drone detection to actually effectively put up your own flight restriction zone? So firstly, flight restriction zones were brought in March this year. Well, they were extended in March this year, I should say, from 1 kilometre to 5 kilometres in essence. So depending on the size of the airport, but you'll either have a 2 or 2.5 nautical mile radius around the airport, which is a no-fly for any drones without permission. And they also introduced what's known as a runway protection zone. And these are really to give additional comfort and security to taking off and landing aircraft into the airport. So these are 1 kilometre wide strips, or Heathrow, they're actually 1.5 kilometres. Just so, because they've got parallel runways, the 1.5 kilometres will cover that little fillet in between them, and they'll extend out to 5 kilometres from the runway, which you can actually see on this picture here. So to operate within here, the flight restriction zone, you actually need legally now air traffic control permission. If you fly within there and you haven't had permission, not only is it dangerous, so are you sure the flight can be made safely if you aren't contacting air traffic, but also there's a limited fine and up to 5 years in prison if you're subsequently prosecuted. Clearly that's something you want to avoid. So I just wanted to give you a few tips of how to make sure that you're definitely outside the flight restriction zone. Obviously, if you're using some of the main manufacturers, this is DJI, they have geo ring fencing built in within the drones. So you shouldn't inadvertently actually be able to fly in these areas. But if you're in an older drone or you're on something a bit more bespoke, then obviously that geo ring fencing isn't going to exist. But if you want to err on the side of caution and just double check, there's 2 resources really that I suggest. That there is a number, but there's 2 quick wins really. One is Drone Safety Map, which is powered by Altitude Angel at the back end. This data actually feeds into the Drone Assist app, which you can use on your phone. So maybe that's a third source of information. And the Drone Safety Map, really, you can see all the airspace. So you can see this is Heathrow we've got on the screen. We've got the Class D airspace here, which you're well within your rights to fly within. You just have to be mindful of the fact there's going to be a good volume of air traffic in and out of Heathrow Airport. However, this area here, so this is that 2.5 nautical mile radius circle and the runway protection zone protruding off the ends of the 2 parallel runways here, it's actually illegal to operate within here. So on Drone Safety Map, you can zoom in and you can see where you'd be encroaching on that flight restriction zone. So that's a really, really useful tool. NATS have also come out with, and you can find this by just Googling it. If you put flight restriction zone Google Maps, then they've literally placed these flight restriction zones on Google Maps for you. You can download the plugin, and you can have it either on your phone or on your computer, and you can turn it off and on whenever you want it. But as you can see, you can click on here and it'll give you all the information you're going to need. And sometimes you'll get telephone numbers as well for air traffic. Okay. And as you can see, that covers the entirety of the country. So really, really powerful resource there. So I hope that helps with regards to the legislation. So just remember, if you're within the flight restriction zone, you must get air traffic control permission. But if you're an asset owner or an airport owner, really, there's only so far the diligence of 99.9% of the drone community is going to cover. Obviously, the manufacturers are doing their best to put in geo ring fencing on the drones. But if anyone's got any malicious intent, for example, then there's ways around taking geo ring fence off drones or doing self builds, and that's really when you need to be looking at a drone detection system. So we have the Martech anti-drone system, or MADS, which is certainly worth looking into. And it's essentially what you'll be able to do on that is you'll have it set up either any asset at all. So it's an airport, you've got buildings, you've got some critical infrastructure, and you'll be able to detect drones. You'll be able to identify the drone, and then having got that and collected the information, you then be able to call in the police to go and deal with the intrusion. Currently, the legislation is such that you can't actually, jam the drones or shoot them down as much as you may want to. But that may change in the future and depends on the criticality of your infrastructure. But really, I can't stress enough the importance of having something. Certainly, if you've got a really important asset that you want to protect from a security point of view and a surveillance point of view, that you really look into drone detection systems as a whole. So I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, please give us a call in the office and ask to talk to the team, whether that's about flight restriction zones or you need a bit of help with the tools, or if you've got any questions about anti-drone drone detection systems. Okay, and take care.